This is preventable, this is fixable, and I'm going to show you how to do both in this video about cleaning tile because you're not alone. This is a very common problem. Welcome to Remodel School, where I show you how to fix every room in your house. In this example, there's a few different reasons why the tile is so dirty. First of all, the grout cracked and somebody filled the cracks with caulk, and then the caulk got moldy and you can't clean that. You got to rip it out. A common reason your grout might be cracking is your subfloor might be flexing. I talk about this in my design choices guide, but basically your subfloor needs to be at least an inch thick to support the weight of the tile, and sometimes people don't meet that minimum requirement. Even if you have a solid subfloor, if there's not enough mortar on the back of the tile, it might flex and cause the grout to crack or even crack the tile itself. You want to make sure you're not cheaping out on the grout material that you select. So use brands that professionals use like Laticrete or Mape, and also make sure that you're not washing out too much of the grout when you install it. Now to fix whatever is cracked, you have to remove enough of it to replace it with new grout. And if you want that new grout to match everywhere else, well then you need to carve out enough of everywhere else as well. And this can be quite time consuming. For this project, for example, I spent 25 minutes per square foot carving out enough room on these hexagon tiles. Now, a place where caulk is supposed to be used is where surfaces change, like the inside corner of a shower. And this is because grout is always going to crack in these spots. You can get siliconized caulk that matches the color of your grout. You can even get it sanded so it kind of looks like the texture of the grout that you have. But it's designed to be removed and replaced. You can use a razor blade or a putty knife. And when you reapply the new caulk, it can get pretty messy, so look up some tips on that. I find it's best to use a caulk tool to help get you a nice straight edge, but you can also tape off that line for some extra help. Now let's say you go through all this trouble of fixing up your tile, getting it clean. People love to skip this next step, and prevention is worth a pound of cure. Traditionally, you've got a couple options. You can either seal your grout if it's cement-based, or you can use a more expensive epoxy-based grout that doesn't need to be sealed. And a pro tip for sealing, let it cure. That might mean you can't use it for a day or two, but the goal is that you leave it on there for a decade or two. Now, let's say you did all this, you sealed your grout, it's still getting dirtier than you like, more often than you like. Well, you can use some OxyClean. If it's really tough, you can use some muriatic acid, and you can use a soft brush with a drill attachment, or if it's really tough, you can use a wire brush. The grout is pretty resilient, and the tile is pretty tough as well. But be mindful, not all tile is created equal. Marble is a softer tile. It's more prone to scratching. If you scratch it, you still might be able to remove or reduce those scratches. But tile like porcelain is very resistant to scratching. It just depends. And that's the same issue you're going to run into with cleaning tile stains. Porcelain is highly resistant to staining, where marble is highly susceptible to staining. You could potentially permanently ruin marble quite easily, especially if you leave a wine glass on the counter. There's so much more to talk about, but that's why you follow Remodel School, and I write out your informed choices in my home remodeling guides.